Yeah, Naman, you can go ahead.
Yeah. So before I start speaking, I would like to first introduce myself. So basically, I'm an FIJC student. I have done some projects in cybersecurity like web pen testing, and I also hold certain certifications like CH, ECS, and CND. So that's it. So today we are going to cover a topic that's more widespread, known as social engineering. So first, I'm going to explain you what social engineering is and how it impacts us and why we need to be aware of it. So, any act that influences a person to take action that may or may not be in his best interest is classified as social engineering. For example, a malicious person is trying to manipulate your decisions for their benefit. They are exploiting you. They can send you a malicious email saying that your account has been expired, you need to change your password, or you may get a call. There are various ways they try to trick you, they try to get your personal information, your passwords, or even money sometimes. So it's very dangerous. And even if you have like security practices in your organization, but if your employees are not aware of this social engineering tricks that attackers use and they are not aware of it, it would be useless because any attacker can exploit the employees. And not only about the employees, social engineering is useful for everyone who use mobile devices or any type of device, because anyone can target them and get their information. And in this age when more and more people are using the devices, more and more children are using devices, so all of them need to be aware of the social engineering techniques. They need to know how to tackle them. So first, I'm going to give you some examples of social engineering techniques. So first is desire to please. For example, I'm sending you an email pretending to be your boss, and I'm giving you some instruction like provide some information. Now, in such scenario, you can't deny your boss, but you don't actually know that it's your boss because someone is faking it, and then in a hurry you provide the information, and then they have that information. Also, they can also create a sense of emergency, like fear of scarcity. Like you may get an email, an SMS, a phone call saying that we have this particular product, we are offering it at a discount, and these are like limited stocks. If you buy today, then only you will get these discounts. So what this does is creates a fear of scarcity. Like if you don't hurry, you will be left out. So what it basically does is it forces you to take a decision, and in a hurry you may take bad decisions that may impact you. And also you may get some phishing emails like you have won this free voucher, you have won some money, you have to convert into your currency. So all these emails, all these SMS and phone calls all come under social engineering. So here there are different types of social engineering. First is phishing. So phishing is the most basic type of social engineering, in which what happens is you get an email from an attacker who is trying to gain your personal information. Like I said before, they may try to pretend like another person, maybe your boss. They may be trying to pretend like another authority, trying to gain your information. Basically, using performing social engineering attacks, manipulating people using emails is known as phishing. And wishing and phishing are very much similar. So let me explain you what wishing is. So wishing is basically manipulating people, getting information from them via phone call. Whatever we do in phishing using email, we do it via phone call in wishing. And smishing is also very similar to phishing and wishing, in which the attackers try to manipulate you using your SMS text messaging. They send you text message with some link. They will say that you have won this free gift. And spear phishing. So basically, spear phishing is a better form of phishing. So what they do is they customize your. Suppose if I want to attack someone, I would stalk their social media profile, get some relevant personal information, which makes my email more believable. I will take all those personal details and try to create a mail and send it to the victim so that it would sound more real. So basically, why spear phishing is used, for example, if I have my eyes on data of some company, so I would take up one employee, try to get some personal information about that employee, and craft a malicious mail so that I can gain some information on about him. So spear phishing is just phishing on steroids. And after that, this is one interesting topic that I'm going to talk about, that is baiting. So many of you may have seen websites which claim to give you this pirated software for free, pirated games for free. So basically, most of the times this can be viruses. And as you can see, it's written attackers set up traps such as USB drives. So I am going to explain you a scenario. For example, you're in your office's parking lot and you find a USB stick there. For example, a 32 GB USB stick. So you would be very tempted to take up that stick and plug it into your computer, format it, and use it for your own personal use. So what happens is basically these USB drives have been purposefully left by some attacker, which has some like a keylogger, a virus which may affect your computer. So this won't be an issue if you have a good antivirus, but still these are some of the techniques that social engineers use that we need to be aware of. Now we are going to discuss about each of this in much greater detail. So in phishing attack, the main agenda of the attacker is to get your usernames, password, and credit card details. So they may, for example, I may get email from Facebook. They will say that my account has been deactivated. I need to provide them with username and password so that they can go into my account and reset my password. So if you first hear this is if you hear this, it may not seem like anyone would fall for it, but still there are many people who fall for this. For example, old people who are not very much used to technology, or young people who are not very much used to technology. Young people meaning like 5 to 7 years. If they come across such email, they may not know that it's a scam email. So the attackers try their best to pose as like Facebook or anything they are trying to pose, and they are able to trick a small group of users. So to prevent these attacks and to aware users, we are conducting this session. So phishing attacks basically deals with extracting user information by manipulating them via emails. Here we have an example of a phishing mail. Here, as you can see, this is an email from Income Tax Department. At least that is what the attacker is trying to achieve, to make the user believe that this email is from Income Tax Department. Here, if you see, this entire message sounds convincing, and they have provided a hyperlink here to submit a request. Click here. But here is a trick. If you hover your mouse around it, here you can see this link doesn't redirect you to their government website, the income tax website. Instead of that, it redirects you into their malicious websites, from which they can extract your credentials. So whenever you get such types of emails, you always have to check their email address, and you can hover. If they are providing such links, you can hover your mouse to check if the email is the link is valid or not, whether they are trying to redirect to a third party site instead of the valid site. So moving on, as you can see, here our user has clicked on the website. Even if when you have clicked on the website, here you can see search box, in the search box here, there is a third party site, not our income tax department site. So even if you see like these sites, you should quickly back away, you should close that website, and you should report that email as soon as possible, because that is the only way you can tackle this. Here we have another example. Suppose our user has gotten a phishing email from SBI account, and the user has been tricked and clicked on the website. Here you can clearly see on the URL, there is nowhere SBI mentioned here, and it's not even the official site. Though this is HTTPS, it's not the official SBI online site. So as you can see, this website is very convincing. If you ignore is this link part, it's very convincing, and you may some users may give their personal information this website, but it's a fake website. So what it does is, whatever details you enter, your card number, your pin, everything would go to the attacker. So you need to be extra careful. Even if you click on the website, you should check the URL whether it's the genuine one or not. And also, this is a popular technique. For example, I may create a fake website. So what most of the attackers do, for example, I want to attack someone, I would create a fake Facebook, same website as Facebook, and host it on my local computer. So when I host a website on my local computer, trying to trick users into clicking it, instead of getting a website, we get an IP address. So whenever you see an IP address as a link, you should be alerted that this is a fake website. A user is trying to redirect to their malicious website, and they are trying to extract your credentials. So always beware that you at all costs you have to avoid such URLs which has IP addresses in them. Here, and another thing, whenever you open any website in your mobile devices, So for the browser to make it look neat, they condense their web URL. Here, as you can see, the URL is, as you can see, here there is an entire URL. But if you see, the URL has been condensed, only the name of the website. So it becomes easier for the attacker to fake the website because the URL has been shortened. So they can easily manipulate users. So whenever, suppose you are accessing some websites from your mobile phone, what you should do is first tap on the URL so that you can get the expanded form of the URL, and then you can safely verify whether it's the real site or not. And also, this is a common techniques that attackers use. Suppose they have replicated the entire Gmail's website, and then they have provided you with the link. Here, as you can see, instead of Gmail, instead of L, they have written one here. If you're not keen enough to notice, or the URL has been shortened, like in this scenario, you may easily fall into this trap and click on this link, because even the URL looks pretty much same. As you can see, only one letter has been changed. Only one letter has been changed to number. Here in ICICI Bank, only one letter has been changed. So if you're not aware, you may fall into such tricks. So you should always verify the URL. And also, if you have like latest versions of Chrome and Firefox installed, so what Chrome and Firefox does for you is it automatically detects such sites for you, such fake sites that are trying to steal your information, and it alerts you. Some of you may have seen these messages. So basically, it alerts you and it warns you that this website is not safe. Proceed at your own risk. So if you have so we always recommend to update your web browsers, Chrome, Firefox, whatever it is, because in all those updates we have all those security patches. As you can see, it's the latest feature that is very helpful for users. And also, suppose you want the contact number of Lakshmi Vilas Bank. Suppose you want to call their customer service. Here we have simply typed in Lakshmi Vilas Bank. You may be tempted to click on the first website, because that is most probably the genuine website, the company's website itself. But here is, as you can see, this link redirects you to moneycontrol.com and not the original website. So Money Control is not any malicious website, it just gives you the stock information. But what an attacker could do is create his own fake web page and create his own fake number. So what would happen is a user would go for his would search for a customer care number. He would type Lakshmi Vilas Bank in the web browser and then click on the first link. He will take the number and dial it. So what the user is thinking is he is calling a genuine number of Lakshmi Vilas Bank. But what the attacker has done is he has provided his own number for phishing calls. So he will try to manipulate him, try to take his password. So you should always verify whenever you're taking numbers from a website, whether it's an authentic website. As you can see, this is the fake website. Not fake website, this is the different website. This may as well be very malicious, but this is a safe website here. And here is the original website that you should be visiting if you want any details, you want to perform any transactions there. This is the same thing, that you shouldn't click on these links, and always you should verify whether it's redirecting you to the authentic place. And also, we should never click any suppose you are getting any links via your SMS, WhatsApp, emails. You should never click on those, because these are very risky, and you should always see whether the email is from an authorized sender. If it's not, you should not even open it and bother in reading that email. Also, you may have noticed, for example, if you're trying to access the website YouTube, if you're typing the URL and if you mistyped it, for example, instead of YouTube, you just typed YouTube without an E, so it would redirect to you to an entirely different site. So you should always be aware if you're typing the URL, that you're correct typing the correct URL. That's it. And the next topic we come to is phishing. So phishing is basically phishing, but done on using phone calls. So basically, what the most common scenarios are, like you will get a call, for example, from HDFC Bank. They will try to like threaten you. They will say that your account has been deactivated. You need to pay certain amount to reactivate your account, or like change your PIN. So all these so in such calls, like you get these calls posing to be as HDFC Bank, you would find one common thing. they always try to take up your information like your name, your pin, but they already have the information. So you should never provide your pin and any of your personal details via mobile calls, because more often than not there are just scammers trying to take up your personal information posing as a bank. And also, like I said before, whenever you're taking numbers from a website, any support numbers, you should always verify the authenticity of these numbers, because you may end up calling a wishing number. Here, as we can see, here our user has gotten SMS. Here in this SMS, they have said that they have applied a voucher which will provide 90% off, and they have provided this link. And the user has clicked on this link, and then this lands on this website. Now, for a new user, you may not know this website. Before purchasing anything, you should always check online reviews on it, whether the site is authentic, whether they have refund policies, because it's very important. uh, Suppose you may click on this site, you may order something. If the product doesn't come, if it's defective, then they may not take the responsibility. So you always have to verify the website, like whether it's trustworthy. Like in most of the cases, you would use reputed sites like Flipkart or Amazon, but you may also be tempted to use such third party sites which are not very reputed, and they may try to get your information. So you should always search for reviews of those website on online. You will get plenty of such reviews. Here we have gotten another example of smishing. So smishing is basically phishing done using SMS. Here we have gotten a message: because of COVID-19 outbreak, we are giving out iPhone 11 smartphones. So by reading this, you may make out that it's totally fake, but there are people who fall for it. So you should never click on such links. And here, let me show you. Here we have an email. Here the attacker is trying to pose as who? World Health Organization, and they have sent you a PDF which gives you coronavirus safety guidelines. So you may be tempted to open that PDF and read all those guidelines, but instead of opening this PDF, you can go to the WHO's official website and check the guidelines there. So you should never open any documents from an unknown from an unknown sender. If the sender is someone you know, then you can open the file extension. Otherwise, you should never download and open it, because this PDF may be infected with virus. Like as I said, these are some tips to avoid wishing and smishing. We should never reveal any personal information in phone calls, and whenever calling a phone number, we should always try to find the authentic number which is of the real customer support, not anyone who is trying to perform a wishing attack. And also try to avoid picking up calls from unknown numbers, because there's unknown numbers could also be scammers trying to perform wishing attacks, trying to take up your personal information. And also in the same way, unknown people may send you SMS with a malicious link, hoping that you would click on it and give them some information. Here, finally, I would like to give you some tips, like some takeaways what you need to follow. Do not click links in emails, especially the ones which are asking for sensitive or personal details. They may mostly they ask for your name, then your address, then your phone number. So they are like a fake giveaway sort of thing, that you have won this prize. You just have to provide some personal details, your name, address, and when you provide your name, address, you get nothing in return. But they have your personal information like your phone number, email address, and you should not entertain any phone requests which are asking for your personal details. So people who are posing as banks trying to perform phishing attacks, they will more than often than not, they will try to take up your personal information. For suppose you have gotten a call from a bank, they are trying to ask for your personal number. So you should immediately put end the call, and then you should contact the company itself. For example, if an if a person is trying to post as an SGFC employee and they're asking for your credentials, you should end the call and call the SGFC support number, and then verify that whether he was supposed to ask you all these details. And also, you should avoid sharing too much information on social media. Most of us, whenever they go for an outing, they always try to post this on social media. They click images and post it on social media. What it does is, as I previously explained you, people try to stalk your social media profiles, and they get all your personal details and try to make an email like spear phishing. They would make a personal email which would include all your personal details, like you went here on that. So what it would do is, the attacker who's trying to trick you into clicking a link, it would sound more believable because he knows some personal information. How did he get that personal information? Because you posted it on social media. So we should always refrain from posting on social media. We should not post everything, where we are going, everything like that on social media, because it's very risky, and we should always think before we share. Suppose you have got an email, you have clicked the link, and then you have provided some personal details. You shouldn't panic in such situations. All you have to do is, you have to report that mail and then contact the cybersecurity cell. And also, there is one a popular technique which social engineers use. They try to create a sense of urgency, like uh, a person from SDFC Bank is trying to call you. He would say that if you don't provide your credentials, and if you don't reactivate your account will be deactivated in the next 24 hours, and all your money would be lost. So what they're trying to do is create a sense of emergency, so you don't think much and just give out your personal information. So is that trick, you shouldn't fall for it. So that was it from for by my side. Over to Pranjali.
All right. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And
Welcome.
yeah, thank you for that valuable information. I hope it is useful for everyone. So I'll just allow me a second there. Okay. So I guess this was information. I mean, very informative in terms of understanding uh, the details. We really avoid, or either we don't even think about a lot of things. But
Right.
I hope that was helpful. So I guess the end note is, I would request everybody to just reach out to us, and if there's anything else that we can assist you, and please do follow us on LinkedIn as well, because we do keep posting our latest upcoming events, as well as new technology and details, or any updates that come into cybersecurity space. We keep the awareness active on our LinkedIn page, so do follow us. And if there's anything, you can reach out to us. As you can see on your screen, we have our contact details. And all right, so thank you everyone for your time and attention today. And till then, we meet for our next event. Stay safe, stay smart, and stay healthy as well, and also stay indoors. So thank you so much.